Hello, I'm Nathan Judo. I'm delighted to be joined by Wolves reporter Mr. Joe Edwards. Joe, we heard from Nuno ahead of the big game tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. It's Wolves against Crystal Palace. I'm sure lots of people will be watching it at home on a variety of different streams and radio frequencies. Look, it was a disappointing end to the Newcastle game. I think that's fair. There's been a few rumbling debates in the old Wolves Twitter community about how Wolves can change this disappointing, I guess, habit of not scoring enough goals in games. We heard from Nuno. What's he said?
Well, he's not shying away from it, and he kind of fronts up and realises that they've got to do more in front of goal, as he said post Newcastle. But one of the big takeaways is that he wants set pieces to be more effective, and I think we spoke about it anyway, haven't we, on the podcast? And I think it's been something that a fair few fans have pointed out on Twitter as well. And Wolves aren't really scoring enough goals from set pieces, and Nuno has drawn attention to that. Wants players to step up in that regard and get more goals, better deliveries, better movement in the box, and kind of add that to their bow again. Really, not every goal can be a wonder goal, and not every goal can be scored by Raul Jimenez. I mean, that's the biggest thing, isn't it? And getting more scorers from all over the pitch involved and set pieces, against a physical Palace side, you'd say, it's an athletic team, is something that could, hopefully bear fruit.
Yeah. So when it comes to selection, he talks about team news. He kind of said that a few people were carrying knocks, as they always do. He's not specific, but kind of pointed towards the international break and that some people are still not quite fit. I wonder if maybe Traore maybe had a bit of a niggle. Is that why we haven't seen him, or do you think it's maybe just preferable that it's been Podence and Neto, and do you think that will continue?
It is something to consider, maybe. I mean, he did play all 3 games for Spain, and maybe he just come back a bit leggy more than anything else, rather than carrying a specific knock. But my inkling is that he will play this one. It's been a while since he's had a start, and that start was at West Ham, and obviously that was a night that went wrong in many areas. But I think you're looking at him against the physicality that I mentioned of Palace. They've got a lot of fast players, across the ground, quite strong, quick players, and I think there's an element of fighting fire with fire, really, and they don't get any stronger or any quicker than a Traore. And as Wolves look for goals from other areas and different ways of scoring goals. I mean, how many times last season did we see Traore get to the byline and cut it back to somebody in the box? Mostly Jimenez, but maybe somebody on rushing from midfield as well. So I think it does lend itself for him coming in. It's a toss-up between Neto and Podence, really, who would drop out, and they may feel a bit hard pressed. But I just think, personally, anyway, I'd like to see Traore in the team for this one.
I guess the other discussion is at left wing back with Saiz playing the last couple of games there, or 2 or 3 games there, and doing okay, but definitely not a left wing back by right. A couple of options for Nuno if he wants to change it with Nouri and Marcel, who's come off the bench for the last couple of games. Do you see a change there as well?
Yeah, I think Marcel will start this one, and kind of I think he was asked by somebody if he's going to start, and of course he didn't give the game away. But the way that Nuno is speaking about Nouri, it's as it is with a lot of players that come into Wolves, it's kind of getting them integrated and getting them used to things and getting them used to the language and things like that. And I think Nouri is still developing a young player, and I think Marcel is the more match ready out the pair, and you saw it, didn't you, against Newcastle? As soon as he came on, there's a lot more balance that you'd say to the side, and I think all signs really point towards Marcel coming in at left wing back. It just means, does Kilman drop out at centre half, and does Saiz continue there? It's a bit of a head scratcher for Nuno.
Do you think? We've talked about more goals and coming from different positions, with Saiz being one of the more prolific ones from the back. I mean, we've all talked about it in the past that the people like Willy Boly need to start scoring more goals, and Nelson Semedo, they'll be looking to get some assists and some goals from him somewhere down the line. I know he was obviously much improved in the last game, but at the same time, you're probably looking for 5-6 goals from him and kind of to replace Doc on that goal scoring front. Do you think that that's what may may change Nuno's thoughts, or is it very disappointing and unlucky for Max Kilman if he does get dropped after doing so well?
Well, we've just had a discussion
Not
off there.
dropped. He doesn't like dropped, does he? Like left out, or there's different options. He hates the word dropped.
Yeah, we've just had a discussion off there, peeling back the curtain a little bit, and talking about how Palace are kind of set up, and Nuno's kind of, being so forthright about getting more goals from set pieces. Then maybe you play Neves and Moutinho in midfield again. It hasn't worked, has it, the last few times? But you do look at Palace and how they're set up at the minute. It's a classic 4-4-2 really, and Milivojevic and Riedewald in midfield. And Milivojevic gets about, Riedewald's a bit more of a sitter, so maybe there is onus to play a midfield two of Neves and Moutinho. And with Saïs, the utility man that we all know he is, he's probably one of the biggest goal threats in this side at the minute. I mean, he's one of the 3 scorers so far. I mean, he scored what would have been a perfectly good goal at Leeds had Podence timed his runner half a second earlier. So maybe Kilman, he might feel a bit hard pressed, but there could be where you put Saïs in at the back because he can get up for corners, get in with an header, and Neves, Moutinho for those dead ball situations. Wolves, mate, no bounds about it. We all know it by now. Need more goals. Maybe with that more creativity and that more of an aerial threat in the team, that might be the right recipe for that.
Yeah, and look, it's no one's tried to second guess Nuno. If you do second guess Nuno, you come up short every single time.
At your peril.
At your peril, absolutely. But at the same time, if you are trying to find any kind of little quote that he did give Nuno in that press conference to get a hint for the team, he did say, Joe, that not only is some of the players are going to take time, the new players, to learn the system and to learn the new environment, but he did say that the other players and the players who have been here for 2, 3, 4 years need to start standing and being counted and need better individual performances from then. So he'll be a little bit disappointed and a little bit let down by some of those players. And that maybe gives you that little bit of a chance that if you are going to go for this game and really give them a big chance to show what they can do, that this would be it. At home against Palace, they've got Leicester away, which is a difficult game after this. Then Southampton who are flying, and then you've got a really tricky December. So it's up to these players, especially the players who have been there for a while now, to really show what they're made of.
Yeah, because I think some of the old guard, if you like, haven't really stood out yet this season. Neves has kind of ticked over. Same with Moutinho. Same with Dendoncker. I don't think either of them have, any of them have really grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. Traore has, obviously been on the bench a bit and not really done anything. And even somebody like Willy Bolly, who's kind of ticked over in games, but not been that commanding, real kind of physical, dominant presence that we've seen of him before. I mean, these players are getting along through games fine, and they're not doing anything necessarily hugely wrong, but they're not standing out how you know that they can. So I think that was a good point from Nuno, and as we wait for the likes of Semedo, who I think game by game has got a little bit better. I mean, Leeds was a bit of a poor one, but I thought he was okay against Newcastle. But as those new players just kind of gelling gradually, slowly but surely, I think in the meantime, they need to see more from the players that have been here 2-3 seasons now.
So it's Wolves against Crystal Palace under the lights, 8 p.m. kickoff at Molineux. Score prediction, please, Mr. Edwards.
Another tight first half, and I'm going to say 2-0 to Wolves. Pull away in the second. I mean, we've spoke to one of the Palace guys for a bit of an inside track, and it's interesting that he says they're very, very defensive. They've done well points-wise, but the fans are a bit concerned about the performances. I mean, does that sound familiar? So it's it could be a bit of a battle of attrition in the first half, and maybe a bit of a feeling out process as we used to see. But hopefully, as we've also been used to seeing, Wolves kind of turn on the style in the second half and get not just one goal but 2 to show for it really. And I'll go Traore and Neves.
Ooh, interesting. I'll go 2-1. Goal scorer Semedo getting his first Wolves goal, and of course Mr. Raul Jimenez. And I'll be shocked if it's 0 at half time. Shocked. Thank you, Joe. I'll see you tomorrow night. I'm only looking forward to it. From me, from Joe. Fingers crossed, 3 points. Bye bye.